Hold up.
Hey, Mac!
And welcome to Keeping Up with the Lyons.
We're your hosts, Jaysha,
Kimia,
Mark, and Natalie.
And today we will be discussing a topic that is incredibly relevant to the students here at Mackenzie.
Today's topic will cover the influence of social media and how it impacts the teenage mind. We have many guests here today with us to argue their opinions, report statistics, as well as share their own personal stories in regards to their use of social media and how it may or may not have benefited them and their mental health. First off, we would like to introduce a memoir titled Teenage Entrepreneurship 101, submitted by an anonymous student from grade 11 who shares her experience with social media and how it positively impacted her state of mind.
Ooh, interesting.
She recalls her past with starting up her own online business with the help of a fellow Mackenzie alumni and shares her experience to success, how she dealt with failure, and many more aspects of a young entrepreneur. It was February 20th, 2018. Almost 1 year ago, I met a girl named Priya who happened to be 3 years older than I was, yet we still seemed to click despite the age gap. We met through work, where we became incredibly good friends upon discovering many things that we had in common. We had similar tastes in music, we both had a borderline obsessive love for Twitter, and one of the weirdest commonalities of all was that we shared an uncommon and quite expensive hobby. We both enjoyed collecting physical music albums from various Western and Asian artists. Although it seemed to be a useless pastime, considering the fact that CDs were now obsolete by that time, we discovered a way to make use of our love for music and social media that ultimately turned our form of entertainment into the enterprise it is today. I still vividly remember when we first decided to start up our business. See, Priya happens to be a computer science and business major at the University of Waterloo. One day, she had visited me at Mackenzie during exam week in June that same year. I recall seeing an obvious glimmer in her eyes when I noticed her staring at me and asked with great curiosity, "Did something good happen to you?" To which she replied with excitement, "My teacher just told me about an upcoming project I have to do for school. We have to create a website and start up our own business selling a specific category of products. Do you remember when we talked about selling some of the albums from our collection a few months back? Well, the purpose of this project is to make a certain profit, and even though it's an ISP, I asked if I could work with someone who is experienced in the field, and cutting her off, I said, and I would be more than happy to help you." I chuckled at her unusually loquacious moment. She hugged me tightly and expressed her gratitude, to which I half-jokingly replied with, "But I get 50% of the profit." Yes, I'm finally done, I exhaled in relief. I had just completed packaging 12 albums in a matter of 2 hours, and was overwhelmed by feelings of pride and joy. I scooted over to my phone to turn off the annoying sound of my alarm that indicated it was time to update our customers on their orders, only to be met with the ringing of a phone call right afterwards. Slightly annoyed, I looked at the screen that read the contact name. "Oh, it's Priya," I mumbled. "Hello? Hey, did you finish packaging the albums? Because I finished. Also, don't forget to go on Twitter and message our customers," Priya shouted, nearly making me go deaf. "Also, I'm coming over." Before I could say anything, she had already hung up, texting me a few minutes later saying that she was at the front of my door with some Chipotle and heart-to-heart advice. As I was devouring my third taco, Priya had suddenly brought up a memory that left me feeling more nostalgic than hungry. "Remember how we were only supposed to keep this little business of ours until April?" she asked with a hint of seriousness in her voice. And honestly, I did remember. All of it. Our conflicting feelings of enthusiasm and nervousness at the beginning, or how proud we felt when we discovered that Twitter and social media wasn't just a platform for exploring new entertainment, but also for exploring the world of entrepreneurship. I remembered how happy we were at the success of selling 50+ albums in a single day, and how disappointed we felt at the failure of even managing to sell 5 in a few days. Looking back, we had many ups and downs at the start of this project. We wondered, is this worth continuing? It has already been 10 months since we started our online business, and we are still happily working away just as we had always done, though with frequent breaks here and there. In the end, we had decided to keep our business as it is our pride and joy. We poured everything into it for a very long time now, and regardless of the stress and fights that accumulated over time, I believe that the positivity we received on social media, as well as the lessons we've learned such as time management, organization, and communication, have far outweighed the negatives. It was these experiences that had impacted us for the better, allowing us to develop a much greater sense of responsibility and maturity, though also teaching us that it's okay to be a normal teenager and take things slow to just enjoy life. Thanks to Priya and my newfound familiarity of the business side of social media, I guess I can conclude that the difference between a young entrepreneur and a young adult isn't the experiences that shape our lifestyle, but the experiences that shape our mentality and how we choose to live happily.
Wow, it's amazing to see these young entrepreneurs using social media to promote and build a base for their companies.
So, I think it's about time we dive into stats and facts about social media's positive and negative effects and overall impact on teens. I'm guessing everyone here has used Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, or Twitter as means to communicate and stay connected with one another. I know I have. Social media has become second nature to us, but what impact is this having on our well-being? Well, let's look at some downsides. Writing posts and receiving positive reinforcement from peers can become extremely addicting, which leads to children spending more and more time on the internet. According to New York Times, kids aged 8 to 18 spend more than 7.5 hours a day on electronic devices. That's almost half a day if you think about it. This has led to teens receiving insufficient sleep, which can further lead to anxiety and increased irritability. Researchers have found that teens can actually show symptoms similar to drug withdrawal when removed from their social media connections. And if you think about that, that's really serious, that we're that dependent on our devices. Not only that, it can cause depression. Studies show that individuals often compare themselves to others they see on social media. Teens typically put on their best face on social media and don't often share their struggles, so others only see them in a perfect idealistic view. This form of internet narcissism makes others feel inadequate about their lives, which in turn can lead to depression as they feel they can never live up to their online persona. However, there are some upsides. The anonymous aspect of the online experience can have a positive impact as well. That obscurity makes it easier to find help for social problems online where there is no stigma attached. There are also strong social and mental benefits to online interactions when there are genuine connections and dialogue rather than flaunting a false persona and comparing lifestyles. Just having someone listen to you is known as being a good way to raise confidence and self-esteem. There can be a benefit to the strong influence of the internet too. A teen may see positive traits being liked and shared, such as healthy eating or academic success. A teen may then be motivated to follow those trends. In moderation, social networking can give teens more, not less, opportunities to speak. Those who suffer from mental illness are often reluctant to speak to those close to them. The internet offers social relief and removes the sense of isolation. Now let's look at some stats on teen social media addiction. This is 2017 data. 92% of teens go online daily, and 24% say they go online almost constantly. 76% of teens use social media. 71% of teens use Facebook, 52% use Instagram, 41% use Snapchat, 33% use Twitter, 14% use Tumblr. 50% of teens say they feel addicted to their mobile device. So that pretty much wraps up what I have to say. I hope that gave you all some insight into the influence social media has on us.
It's crazy to see the actual stats and facts behind social media and how it impacts us teens, and not only Mackenzie, but all across the world. Now, let's move away from these stats and get a real-life glimpse of how social media can change someone's life dramatically.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark, and today I will be interviewing Billie Eilish. Thank you so much for coming. It means so much.
No problem. I'm a huge fan of your podcast, and I'm so glad to be here.
Alright, let's jump right in. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, I'm Billie Eilish, I am 17 years old, and I am an indie singer and songwriter from Los Angeles.
Ooh. As you know, today's topic is the effects of social media on teens. We immediately thought of you since you blew up as an artist through social media. So, was it easy to grow as a creator, or was it really hard?
You know, I kind of got famous from a mistake. I uploaded my first song, Ocean Eyes, onto SoundCloud, which was only for my dance teacher, but people discovered it, and here I am now.
So did you ever really want to be famous?
Honestly, not really. I mean, there are definitely some cool things about being famous, like being able to influence people, being invited to grand parties, and meeting and collaborating with some of my favorite artists and celebrities. But there are some things I really don't like. Something that really affects me is the amount of hate comments and messages I receive. There are so many trolls online who just always comment such negative and harsh things. I should just block it out, but it's something I'm just super sensitive to.
That's sad to hear. Is there anything you would recommend to people who want to become famous through social media?
Yes, a lot of aspiring social media influencers are naive to the true reality of being famous. A lot of people forget about the amount of hate we receive and think they'll be able to just block it out. I thought I would be able to, but it's really hard to. People also forget that us celebrities have to work hard as well. I have to constantly keep my 11 million followers updated and satisfied. I have to constantly work and consistently produce and upload new music. It's pretty tough, and this fame has actually taken a large toll on me. That's interesting, since many people think that becoming famous comes along with an easy life. Thank you so much for coming and having an interview with us. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Mark.
It might come to many people's surprise that being famous through social media isn't all that it seems.
Billy's sudden breakout through social media has clearly changed her life and has given her a platform to share her music to the world. Last but not least, we have an op-ed that discusses why Mackenzie should embrace and not block the use of social media within the classrooms.
Technology has changed greatly over the past century. We're living in a generation that is heavily technology-based. It's literally everywhere we go. From self-driving Teslas to 3D printers and even iPhones without a headphone jack. Technology is evolving and being reshaped, overall redefining the way we live, whether we like it or not. Mackenzie is a school that is known to have a competitive background with eager students who will be the future leaders of tomorrow. There is a constant battle between the use of technology in classrooms. Students love it and teachers hate it. But what's new? I strongly believe that Mackenzie should embrace the use of technology in its classrooms to ensure the growth and consistent excellence from its students. The mission of William Lyon Mackenzie is to, quote, provide in collaboration with staff, students, parents, and community challenging programs and a high standard of excellence that meet the needs of all students. If this so-called mission is true, shouldn't it be in the school's best interest to embrace technology and encourage individual learning within these students, or is it all just a big gimmick? Anybody and everybody knows that no two people learn in the same way. As much as I would love to learn the way Albert Einstein once did, not only am I very incompetent, but we both have different learning strategies. We both have our own strengths and weaknesses. Technology provides great opportunities for making learning more effective for everyone's own strengths and weaknesses when it comes to learning. If Mackenzie embraces technology, their students can learn at their own pace and on their own terms. By embracing this, Mackenzie can continue their oh-so-great mission of theirs and continue to challenge students and to meet the needs of all in a more modern and accommodating way. As technology evolves and is being integrated more and more into everyday life, future generations need to know how to adapt and how to use technology for the future. At young ages, technology is being introduced to kids. And truthfully, as a teen currently living in this generation, I can't even remember a time without technology in my life. We were exposed at such young ages, and it's just downright naive to block the use of technology in classrooms for these future civilians. Although students in Mackenzie are in their teenage years, it is still important that they are well prepared for the future. I know for a fact that students do not feel prepared at all, and they shouldn't have to be. It is Mackenzie's duty to prepare these students and to guide them for the future. By embracing the use of technology, Mackenzie students will be ready and prepared for the technological future that awaits them. There's no doubt that technology has had a few negative impacts in the classroom environment. It can be very distractive and can be misused, especially during those boring lessons where the urge is just too uncontrollable to check those texts or to see the latest Instagram post. We have to accept the reality. There honestly is no way of escaping technology. Rather than trying to block out technology at Mackenzie, we should rather embrace it, because whether they like it or not, it's an important part of the future that is inevitable. We're going towards a new technological era, so why take a step back and deprive students of understanding and using technology within their classrooms?
All right, Mac, that's all we have for this week's podcast. Catch us for next week's podcast, where we will be talking about the effects of nicotine addiction on teenagers, something you won't want to miss. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Keeping Up with the Lyons for updates and more information. See you next week.
Hold up.